Have you ever wondered why some people seem to struggle with anxiety, trust issues, or making decisions, even when their lives appear picture perfect on the surface? What if these challenges aren't just random quirks, but are deeply rooted in their childhood experiences? And what if the key to understanding these behaviors lies in something that happened long ago, something that they may not even realize still impacts them? In this presentation, we're diving into the profound and often hidden impact of childhood trauma on adult life. From mental health struggles to chronic health issues, childhood trauma doesn't just fade away with time. It leaves a lasting imprint on the brain, and understanding this connection is crucial for both healing and prevention. In my article, I explored the long term effects of childhood trauma, highlighting how trauma is not just an emotional burden, but a physical one. When children face neglect, abuse, or chronic stress, their brains actually undergo changes that influence how they perceive and react to the world around them. These changes can last a lifetime. A crucial concept that my article focuses on is the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, or the ACE study. This study found that individuals who experience trauma before the age of 18 are at a much higher risk for developing mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, and PTSD, as well as physical conditions such as heart disease and diabetes. The more traumatic events a person faces, the higher their ACE score and the greater their risk for long term issues. One of the most powerful takeaways from my article is this: childhood trauma is not just a chapter in our past, it's a lens through which we experience the world as adults. Even if we think we've moved on, trauma can continue to affect our relationships, our health, and even our career paths. But here's the good news: the brain has an incredible ability to heal and adapt, and with the right strategies and support, it is possible to rewrite the story. To write this article, I turned to a variety of scientific studies, including the ACE study and more recent research on brain development. The ACE study in particular was crucial because it provides clear evidence of how early trauma directly correlates to mental health and physical issues later in life. I chose to focus on this study because it is a game changer in how we understand trauma. It's not just psychological, it's biological. One of the challenges in turning academic research into something that the general public can understand was breaking down complex technical concepts. For example, when I discussed brain areas like the amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex, I had to explain their roles in simpler terms. I had to ensure I was not overwhelming the reader with jargon, but still conveyed the importance of these brain regions in processing trauma. This meant making the science relatable and showing how these processes manifest in real life experiences. Something that really surprised me during the research was just how much trauma affects the physical body. It wasn't just about emotional pain. Trauma can contribute to chronic diseases, including autoimmune disorders, cardiovascular disease, and even metabolic syndrome. I hadn't fully appreciated how deeply trauma affects both the mind and body, and this realization was eye-opening. Throughout this process, I gained a much deeper understanding of developmental psychology, specifically how early life experiences shape our brains and influence our behavior as adults. I now see how trauma can be both invisible and enduring, affecting everything from how we manage emotions to how we relate to others. What I learned is that healing doesn't mean erasing the past, but learning to understand and manage its influence in our present lives. On a personal level, I strengthened several key skills. First, I really sharpened my critical thinking abilities, especially in terms of analyzing how complex research can be applied to real world situations. Writing for the public instead of just academic audiences required me to become more aware of audience engagement and how to explain intricate topics without oversimplifying. I also improved my digital design skills by making this article visually engaging and accessible for online readers. In terms of my future, this project is directly aligned with my academic and career goals. I'm now considering the future in psychology, particularly in understanding trauma and its effects on behavior. This project has opened my eyes to how critical it is to educate people about the lasting impacts of childhood experiences and how we can use that knowledge to help others heal. Now I'd love to hear from all of you. Here's a question for you to think about and respond to in the discussion forum. How do you think early childhood experiences, whether positive or negative, affect us as adults in ways we might not even recognize? I'm excited to hear your thoughts, but if that question doesn't spark your interest, feel free to choose one of your own instead, such as, what is one surprising fact you've learned about trauma from this? How do you think we can create environments, whether at home, school, or work, that support people dealing with childhood trauma? Why do you think mental health issues related to childhood trauma are often overlooked or misunderstood in society? I look forward to continuing the conversation in the forum. Thank you for watching.